Imagine you're holding on to a secret that could literally save someone's life. But to keep it safe, you have to lie? What do? Well, welcome to The Explainer, everyone. Today, we're diving into a truly timeless debate between two absolute heavyweights of philosophy. We're talking about truth, falsehood, and the very foundation of human morality. We're going to look at how two vastly different thinkers, Immanuel Kant and John Stuart Mill, approached the exact same ethical puzzle but arrived at completely opposite answers.
Okay, let's dive right into this with Section 1, the ultimate moral dilemma.
See, we aren't just talking about abstract, dusty theories today. We're exploring a dilemma that hits us in the micro-decisions we make literally every single day. I'm talking about navigating white lies, brutal truths, and the whole shebang. So I want you to actively reflect on your own baseline assumptions for a second here. Is telling the truth always the right thing to do? From a young age, most of us are taught, honesty is the best policy. It's the bedrock of our relationships, the foundation of our economies, and the core of our personal integrity. But when we say always, do we actually mean always? Or can lying sometimes be justified? Think about it. If honesty is the bedrock of trust, does a single justified lie create a massive crack in that foundation? Or does it sometimes prevent the entire house from burning to the ground? This is the massive, complicated gray area that completely split our two philosophical challengers. If we admit that lying is sometimes okay, well, where exactly do we draw the line? Who gets to decide when a lie is acceptable and when it's just a profound betrayal? That exact tension is what makes this debate so incredibly fascinating.
Moving on to Section 2, Immanuel Kant and Absolute Truth.
Let's introduce challenger number 1, Immanuel Kant. Now, Kant was a philosopher who categorically did not do gray areas when it came to ethics. For him, morality wasn't about guessing the future or weighing a bunch of different options. It was about absolute truth. He came up with this concept called the categorical imperative. It's basically the foundational idea that you should only act in a way that you'd want every single other person in the world to act all the time. So according to Kant, lying is always wrong, zero exceptions, period. For him, morality is built entirely on duty, principles, and honesty. If you bend the rules for convenience, or honestly even out of compassion, you're fundamentally eroding the entire concept of morality. You have a strict duty to be honest because a moral rule, to actually be moral, absolutely has to be universal.
Let's test this out in Section 3, the dangerous person scenario.
To truly grasp just how rigid Kant's philosophy is, we've got to stress test his theory. Because, let's face it, it's incredibly easy to say always tell the truth when the stakes are super low. But imagine this extreme scenario. A truly dangerous person comes banging on your front door. They're looking for your friend who is terrified and hiding right there inside your house. This dangerous person looks you dead in the eye and asks directly where your friend is hiding. Just take a second and feel the weight of that. What is the right choice here? In this terrifying, high-pressure, life-or-death moment, your adrenaline is absolutely spiking, and your deepest human instincts are probably screaming at you to lie, to protect your friend at all costs.
Now, what's really interesting about this is, even then, Kant says you should not lie. No way. I know. It sounds shocking. It feels almost deeply counterintuitive to our modern sensibilities and, well, our basic empathy. But Kant's logic is profound, and he is strictly consistent. He argues that if lying becomes acceptable, even in an extreme, life-threatening circumstance, then the overarching trust in human society completely breaks down. It's like a giant puzzle falling apart. If we can justify a lie right here, we've cracked the foundation, and suddenly we can justify a lie anywhere. Plus, Kant argues that you're only responsible for your own duty to tell the truth. You are not responsible for the bad actions of that dangerous person. A society functioning without a baseline of absolute trust, according to Kant, it simply cannot exist.
This brings us to Section 4, John Stuart Mill and Consequences.
Let's meet our second challenger, John Stuart Mill, who approaches this exact same terrifying scenario from a completely different angle. Where Kant zooms in on the action itself, Mill is looking at what happens next. He uses a philosophical lens called utilitarianism. Mill basically believed that actions should be judged strictly by their consequences, not by unbending rules. A lie can be morally acceptable, and actually, it might even be your absolute moral obligation if it produces profoundly positive results. If a lie saves a life, protects innocent people from harm, or creates significantly more overall happiness, Mill argues that you absolutely must lie. So, back to that dangerous person scenario. Mill would say deceiving the attacker to protect your friend is unequivocally 100% the right thing to do.
See, for Mill, the ultimate goal of morality is incredibly practical. It's almost like moral accounting. You calculate the outcomes of your actions, and you just choose the path that maximizes human well-being and minimizes suffering. The goal? Create the greatest happiness for the greatest number of people. It's a strictly results-driven philosophy. You weigh the negative impact of a broken truth against the massive positive impact of a saved life, and boom, the math clearly dictates your action.
So let's put these two head-to-head in Section 5, the core comparison. All right, we're putting these two heavyweights in the ring to really focus on the entire comparison. The fundamental divide boils down to the core questions each philosopher demands you ask yourself before taking action. Kant asks a strict process question: did you follow the moral rule? Mill, on the other hand, asks a practical outcome question: did your action produce good results? Think about it. Kant doesn't care about the outcome because outcomes are unpredictable and ultimately out of our hands. But Mill? He doesn't care about rigid rules because rules blindly applied can sometimes cause immense, totally avoidable suffering.
And this brilliantly illustrates the stark differences in their foundational focus. Kant's focus on absolute duty and principles offers a clean, universal compass. You always know what the right thing to do is, no matter how harsh the terrain, but wow, is it unforgiving. Mill's focus on outcomes and human happiness gives you a clear destination of well-being. It's highly adaptable, it's deeply compassionate, but it is incredibly messy. I mean, predicting the future and mapping out the ripple effects of a lie, that's never an exact science.
So, having explored both of these really powerful frameworks, the decision inevitably returns to you. How do you operate in your own life? Do you lean towards Kant's categorical imperative? Should truth always be absolute? Should it serve as that unbreakable foundation that holds society's trust together, no matter the immediate painful cost?
Or should morality depend entirely on the situation? Do you side with Mill's utilitarianism, believing that our highest human calling is to adapt, protect each other, and actively generate the most happiness, even if it means bending the truth? It's a heavy question, right? One that has challenged humanity for centuries. And the framework you choose shapes absolutely everything about how you interact with the world around you. So think about that the next time you find yourself tempted to bend the truth. Thanks for joining me for this explainer, and keep questioning the rules around you.